Polymarket and prediction markets traders are currently generating thousands of dollars just arbitraging prediction markets. Now, if you're arbitraging directly by going on Polymarket and then Kalshi and comparing the prices, you're ultimately missing out on all of these opportunities as you're spending too much time by finding the markets before you can even place a trade, right? There's traders out there that are using pro trading terminals, which I'll be showcasing to you in this video, exactly how to use them, the pro trading terminal that I use to arbitrage, and ultimately how you guys can do the same. And with that being said, I won't waste any of your time. I'll get straight into it. Now, the terminal that I use is called Predictify. If you go down in the link in the description, you can go ahead and access it. I don't get any money from it. I'm not sponsored. I'm not getting any referral fees. However, you can go ahead and join me in arbitraging prediction markets. Now, ultimately, what you want to do after you go to Predictify, you want to go over to Trade and then head over to the aggregator tool. Now, the aggregator, these guys have got, I believe, seven different prediction markets aggregated. But ultimately, you're able to directly compare prices and order books and ultimately find arbitrage opportunities. For example, in this Formula 1 market, you can see that the price on Polymarket is significantly lower to some other prediction markets for Lando Norris to win the F1 Drivers' Championship. You can see here on opinion, for example, he's priced at 8 cents here, right? You can see here in the order book, you get more of accurate data as well on ultimately where these traders are placing their limit orders. But ultimately, you can see here on opinion it's a lot higher, which is another prediction market, and on Polymarket is sitting at 2.9 cents. Now, personally, I never like to look at opinion as the sort of middle ground of where it should be priced at, because opinion tends to be inaccurate a lot of the times. A lot of the times, what you want to look at is the price difference between Polymarket, Predictify, and Kalshi. Gemini at times can be slightly accurate, but ultimately, Predictify, Limitless as well, these guys tend to be somewhat accurate, but opinion I don't like to look at as like a median ground. Now, for example, here when you go over to Kimi Antonelli, this is actually quite a strong example on what I mean, right? So you can see here for Antonelli here, you can see opinion being absolutely all over the place. These guys were mispriced for weeks here. You can see here while all the prediction markets were trading at 15 to 18 cents, opinion was at 5.9 cents. And only recently these guys have caught up with the prices of the other prediction markets. However, Polymarket here is still outpriced. You can see here while Polymarket is sitting at 30 cents, Kalshi is sitting at 34 cents. Now, this might not be the largest arbitrage opportunity, but over time, these tend to adapt. You can see here historically, right, when it comes to the pricing, you can see here that Polymarket and Kalshi tend to be par to par when it comes to the pricing. You can see here while Polymarket was sitting here at 31 cents, again, Kalshi was about 3 or 4 cents off. But you can see here that price inefficiency sort of comes down more equal a lot of the time. You can see here that 31.9 cents on Polymarket, on Kalshi it was 32 cents, right? And ultimately, these prices tend to end up being matched by different traders. They tend to fill those gaps and they end up being a lot more consistent. And you're basically buying while it's inconsistent and then selling when it's consistent. Or if you want to hold off until the resolution, which I wouldn't recommend. I never like to hold until resolution. I like to just pocket the profit and difference while I can. You just want to sell it ultimately when the prices diverge and they meet at the same price. Same here when I go over to our aggregator tool here and we go over, let's say, to another market. We go to the largest company end of April, right? So for the largest company end of April, okay, this might not be the best example, right? As this is like close to resolution already. A lot of the times for Predictify, when they're close to resolution, these guys would just be at 0.9. It pretty much telling you the market's basically finished, right? This market has already somewhat come to an end. So we're going to switch over to another market here. Okay, the Premier League winner market. This was actually quite an interesting market over the weekend while the Premier League was being played. You can see here, if we go over to the Manchester City here, when Manchester City ended up beating Arsenal, you can see here the lag when it comes to the price change. While the rest of the prediction markets here already jumped up in price right here, while Opinion, Kalshi, and all the rest of the prediction markets were trading about 40 cents, Polymarket was still stuck at 30 cents. They ended up catching up later down around the 21st, that's about yesterday, right at the time of recording. Now they're back to like similar prices, but ultimately during this time, this was like easy profit to be made. Right, you could have pocketed this difference from 30 cents to now nearly 60 cents, right? The price difference is quite insane, and ultimately this is how you're going to be able to arbitrage prediction markets. You will have to spend quite a bit of time just on the platform so you don't miss out on these opportunities. If you go to aggregator, you sort of get an idea, and you can ultimately just look at the 24-hour volume, right? And also the 24-hour price change. You can end up sorting it and view, right, more markets. So ultimately just spending enough time on the aggregator will give you a rough idea on what you should be trading. It's been your quantitative here. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.